Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing y'all every book I read this summer. Now, summer isn't over yet. I'm actually filming this video on July 21st. And yeah, so the summer is far from over. But in August is when I like to start transitioning from summer to fall, so I start kind of reading more fall-y books, as well as like starting to decorate my room, starting to get in that mindset, because you know school starts in August, and that's just kind of when I like to try to transition into like that sort of groove. So the last two books on this list I have not finished yet, but by the end of July I should be finished with them. So I have 12 books here, and 4 of them I read in June, and then 6 of them I've read in July, and then obviously the last 2 I have not finished yet, but I do plan on finishing them before the end of this month. So yeah, let's get started with my little reviews. So I have DNF'd one book. I did DNF one book this summer, and you will quickly find out which book that is. So the first book I read this summer was What Happens After Midnight by K.L. Walter. I really enjoyed this book. It's kind of about these seniors who they go to like this private school basically, and they're not allowed to do a senior prank, but every year a senior does do a senior prank, and kind of whoever did the senior prank isn't called the jester, and that one person picks a underclassman, so a junior, to be the jester for next year. And this jester kind of waits a really long time to do it. So they're like, are we gonna have a senior prank or not? And the jester in this book kind of rounds up a few people, including his ex, and they do the senior prank, and it's a really good book. I was so excited to read this because we were not allowed to do a senior prank. We were told if we did a senior prank, we would not be allowed to walk, so we never did a senior prank. So I gave this book 4 stars. It's a really good book. So my little review, I said I really liked this book. I hated Daniel from the start. From the first time he was mentioned. And if you know who Daniel is, you know why I hate him. Lily and her mom gave me Rory and Lorelai vibes from Gilmore Girls. I could tell that Tag was still down bad for Lily when they first met. They should have been easier on the punishment. I hated Blair only because Lily did. Overall, really good book. I love Lily in this book. She's like one of the first kind of main female characters that like I've never really had a problem with. Like some of these main characters, I'm like, but I feel like I don't do that at all in this one. So it's a really good book. Okay, next is the DNF. This book makes me so angry. I can't. It is, spoiler alert, by Olivia Dade. I got basically halfway finished with this book and I could not take it anymore. I couldn't do it. It was horrible. If you like this book, no judgment. You like what you like. Me personally, I hated it. And I feel like reading halfway, basically, I feel like that's enough to be like, okay, I really am not enjoying this book. Now, if it was like 15 pages, then I'd be like, you should have tried to read a little bit more. But like, I read almost 200 pages of this book. No. I gave it 1 star. I gave it 1 star. Only because I had to on Goodreads. And I DNF'd it on June 14th. And I still think about how mad I got when I decided to DNF this book. So basically this is about 2 fully grown adults, meaning she's in her 30s, he's in his 40s. She still does cosplay. I mean, really, there's nothing like wrong with cosplay, but she's just like, gotta keep it a secret, can't tell anybody, and then post it on her Twitter. Okay, anyway, he sees it. They end up like dating or whatever. And the reason why I DNF'd this book was because there's this one part I could not stand. So she is on the bigger side, and obviously he's really fit because he's a TV star, and he plays this like, he plays like this soldier or something, I don't know. And they were trying to make plans to meet up, and before he had to leave, but he had to leave the next morning. And he was like, well, I already was planning on going to the gym and then going to this breakfast. And then she goes home and types out on her fake Twitter account. They both have fake Twitter accounts. Or, not Twitter accounts. They have fake accounts where they pretend to be somebody else. Which is just, what? But anyway, and they're both friends on this account, but like, I mean, he knows it's her, but she doesn't know it's him. Strange. And she started going off because she was like, he fat shamed me because he asked me if I wanted to go to the gym with him. That's not fat shaming. Did he say one thing about your body? No. He was already planning on going to the gym. You're being a sensitive little... It makes me so mad. I could talk about this book for hours because of how mad it made me. And like, not in a good way at all. And then it starts making him feel bad. Like, grow up. Both of these characters need to grow up. And like, he just basically effed you in public. Outside of a museum, and then you're gonna say he fat shamed you because he asked if you wanted to go to the gym with him? Maybe you do need to go to the gym. Whatever. This book, it just makes me so angry. I want to rip it up. No hate to the author. I'm sure she's a lovely lady. And no hate to anybody that liked this book. But I have read Instagram fan fiction that was better than that. So, sorry. That made me so bad. Anyway, let me read my review. It says, I DNF this because it sucks. The main girl is 38 and writing fan fictions and dressing up as a TV show character. he is 40 and acts like he's 15. They basically do the nasty in public, so of course the press finds them. She gets all pissed because he already had set plans to go to the gym before his fight and said she could come. She went on a whole rant about how he was fat shaming her. He wasn't. Yeah. Okay, next book. I really much enjoyed this next book a whole hell of a lot better than that book. And it is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. This is the first Percy Jackson book. This one... Oh, I got the order wrong. Oh, no, I didn't. I finished this one first. Okay, never mind. I had the... It's okay. Anyway, so I like this one a whole lot better. So basically, if you don't know what Percy Jackson is about, you have either just been born or are like 50, or you've been living under a rock since 2010. Or, well, when did this book come out? 2005. This book came out before I was born. So anyway, basically it's about this 12-year-old kid. He's like a little troublemaker, but he doesn't mean to be. And he keeps getting kicked out of these boarding schools. And he's like, what the heck, bro? So basically, he finds out that he is the son of Poseidon, and he is a demigod. And Zeus, his uncle, thinks that for whatever reason, Percy stole his lightning bolt. Because the kid didn't know he was a demigod up until 5 seconds ago, but he's already being accused. Because that makes perfect sense. Anyway, so him and his little group of friends, Annabeth and Grover, have to go on this quest to not only find the lightning bolt and the real thief, but that's a dog. That's my neighbor's dog. They're fine. He just makes that noise sometimes, if you can hear it. But anyway, so they have to find not only the lightning bolt and the lightning thief, but also return it to Zeus and Olympus in 10 days. But the thing is, they're in New Jersey, and they have to go all the way to California on foot, basically. Either on foot or on car. Okay. Yeah, but it's a really good book. I quite enjoyed it. So I gave it a 5-star. And my little review says, I like this book a lot better than I thought I would. I really do think the casting was perfect. Based on like vibe, not based on like looks, because obviously none of the cast looks like how they're described in the book, but overall vibe, I think they fit. After reading it and after watching the TV show, I think the vibes, they're there. They all give off their characters' vibes. So, yeah, anyway. I love Percy's sassiness. I also kind of felt bad for Annabeth because of her family and how she came to the camp. I loved when Sally said she sold Gabe after she used the Medusa's head. She like sold him because he turned to stone. That was funny. She's such a queen. I love how supportive they all are of Grover with finding Pan. Because if that was my friends when I was their age, I would get no support. If I was Grover and like if I was friends with my old friends when I was 12, I would get no support at all. They'd be like, girl, you're stupid. I'm like, okay. So next I read People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. So this, I gave 4 stars. It's actually a pretty good book. So basically it's about these two friends. For years they have been going on these summer trips, and at first it was like the cheapest stuff they can find, the cheapest hotel rooms, the cheapest food, and they really were just there to make a memory. They weren't there just to relax or to get all this fancy stuff, to go shopping or whatever. They were just there to make as many memories as possible and have as much fun as possible. Well, she ends up getting a job at this company where she literally gets paid to travel and blog about it. And so she takes their like summer vacations to a whole other level. So now they are doing the whole 5-star thing, but they still have little bits and pieces of their old kind of cheap stuff there. But you know, something happens in Croatia that isn't revealed until the end of the book that kind of breaks their friendship apart, and they haven't spoken in a few years. So eventually our main girl Poppy realizes that she misses Alex. So she texts him and spontaneously, and she's like, let's go on a trip. I think it's to Florida. It's either to Florida or California. I can't remember which one. But anyway. And he's like, yeah, let's go. And so they're trying to rekindle their friendship. And they're also there for a wedding. But like everything's going wrong. The heat in their hotel room, horrible. It's broken. Their car is a little janky. Just so many things are going wrong. But it's a good book. I'm not gonna spoil what happens in the end, but like, yeah, so I gave that 4 stars, and I said, I really did like this book. I did feel the slow burn was too slow. You could feel from the first text that they were in love with each other. I thought Alex overreacted a little bit when Poppy told him she paid for the trip and what her friend said. I understand he was mad, but he didn't have to do all that. Poppy was a little much at times. Sarah, I didn't like. So if you read the book, you will understand all those references. So yeah. So next, getting into the July books. I'm gonna try to speed this up because I went on a little too much of a rant with spoiler alert. So I read The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout, maybe? This is a really good book. This made me cry. I was bawling my eyes out. So basically, it's about these 2 foster kids. They were in a pretty abusive foster home when they were younger. And eventually, when they were about 12 or 13, they got out. She got adopted. He got fostered into another home. And they hadn't seen each other since that point. So about 12 or 13 years old, they haven't seen each other. And now they're about 17, 18. They're seniors in high school. And they end up being in the same school together and having some of the same classes. Drop my notebook. So, dropped it again. Can't get it. Oh, I'm falling. Alright. Where am I? I'm right here. Okay. So, yeah. So now they're kind of talking and becoming friends again, and like not reliving some of the stuff that happened, but kind of coming to terms with it. So I'm gonna now read you my little review. I gave it 5 stars. So I said, I love this book. I cried so hard. I could even relate to Mallory, not because I have been abused, because I haven't, but because we both don't talk. We only have a few friends, and we both try to be perfect. I hated Paige so much. If Ryder told her about what happened, then she should have known to be nice to Mallory. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I loved it. Okay, so next is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This book is about kind of this famous horse racer girl, I guess. She comes home because she's been injured and she doesn't really want to be on a horse again. So she comes home back to Oklahoma, I believe. Anyway, so she ends up meeting up with her brother's best friend, who was he had a bad boy reputation, but now he owns a bar, and they end up kind of talking a little bit. She tells him about her accident, and he helps her ride horses again and ends up helping her with an upcoming competition that she's going to be in. And I think you could tell by the cover what ends up happening. There is a second book to this. I think it's called Swifted and Saddled that I really want to read. Yeah, Swifted and Saddled. So I gave it 4 stars. And I said I liked it. It was cute and fast-paced. I loved Teddy and Emmy's relationship. I also liked how Emmy never seemed full of herself, even though she won so many competitions. I think Gus did overreact. I also loved Amos, Emmy's dad, and Wes. They were so chill and calm. Ryder, I didn't like at times, but overall he was pretty good. Overall, really good book. So next, I read Hunger Games: Catching Fire, and if you know me, you know I have a deep-rooted history with this trilogy. This trilogy and the movies are the reason why I'm so into reading now. These are the first books that I actually completed because before I read these books, I didn't really know I was dyslexic, or I didn't know that I had some sort of comprehension issue. So before I read these books, I didn't read really at all until my 8th grade English class, where we got to pick any book we wanted and we could read it. And we ended up watching The Hunger Games, and I hadn't seen The Hunger Games before. And I loved it so much. I came home and I watched all 4 movies back to back to back. And then once I finished the 4th movie, I rewatched all of them in one day. So I watched The Hunger Games for like 16 hours straight. So, and then I think it was my 14th birthday, I had a Hunger Games themed party, and that's when I got these books. So you can thank these books for this channel, basically. If you don't know what Hunger Games: Catching Fire is about, you've been living under a rock. But my little review is, I love this book the same. I loved it when I first read it. Katniss always thinks about other people and feels guilty when she thinks about herself. I will always have a place in my heart for Peeta because he is so in love with her and he is always in the dark. I understand why they didn't tell him about the overall plan, but they should have told them a little something. Okay, next is To Sir Philip of Love by Julia Quinn. Now, if you watch my channel, you know I love every single Bridgerton book I read. This one, now Julia, babe, what the hell is this book? I gave it 4 stars only because of Eloise and her brothers. So basically, this book is about Eloise and Philip. It's their love story, but they've been, communicating through letters for a year, and he invites her over to his place and proposes marriage in a letter. So she comes. She doesn't tell anybody, which is stupid. She leaves a letter, but like not in a very common place, I don't think. And she thinks that's good enough. I said, that's not good enough. Anyway, so his kids are wildly abusive to her because he doesn't teach them properly. And he only wants to marry her to make her a mother, to have a mother for his children, but fails to mention he has kids in his letters. So, yeah, Philip is a little piece of shit, basically. And Eloise is a goddess. So, my review says, I gave it 4 stars. The only reason why this book gets 4 stars is because of the brothers, Eloise, Sophie, and Sophie. Philip is a walking red flag. He only wanted to marry Eloise so that his kids could have a mother, but didn't tell her he had kids. Got mad when she told him she wanted more than just sex in the marriage. Then threw his dead wife in her face and told her she had no right to complain. Next, I read Percy Jackson and The Sea of Monsters. Moving on from Bridgerton. Okay, this book was a really good book. I really quite enjoyed it. Oh, I turned British there for a second. This book is actually quite a bit thinner than the first one, which I'm kind of mad about. But anyway, so I gave this 4 stars. 4 stars? I gave this 5 stars. What am I talking about? So basically, another year, another summer, another camp. So Percy is now at a new boarding school or private school. And there he meets one of his friends named Tyson. And now Tyson, he's actually not a centaur. What is he? One eye. What is it? No, it's not a centaur. This was like the main point in this book, and I can't even remember what it's called. Why do I want to say cyborg? It's not a cyborg. What am I? Hold on. 1 second. I have to, okay. Whatever. He's a whatever. Why can't I remember what this is called? Okay, whatever. So Tyson's not a demigod. He's one of those mythical creatures with one eye at the top of his head like this. I can't remember what it's called right now. But anyway, so Percy has been having these dreams of Grover in a wedding dress. And he has to go save Grover. But the camp is in trouble. And is it Mr. D? Whatever his name is. He got fired from the camp because Talia's tree has been poisoned by Luke. And, the new camp, not leader, whatever, he assigns his quest to no other than, why can't I think of these people's names? Oh my god, Clarice. And, With the help of Hermes, Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson go out to find Grover on herself by themselves. Yeah. In Talia's tree, they go and find the golden cloth thing. So I gave it 5 stars, and I love this book. I loved how Percy and Annabeth still had that middle school banter with each other. Grover being in a wedding dress is the most random thing ever, and it's great. I love Tyson so much. He is the sweetest. I wanted to cry when Percy thought he died, and also when he had to leave. Also, this book is just Annabeth being iconic and a queen. Love it. Okay, next is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I gave this book 4 stars. So basically what this book is about, it's about this girl. She faked dates this professor to convince her best friend that it's okay to date her ex because she actually really didn't like him anyway. And it causes like a whole big thing. And yeah, that's like the basicest way. I feel like anything else I say about this book is just like gonna give away what it's about, like give away spoilers. So anyway, I give that book 4 stars, and I said this book had me smiling like I was flirting with somebody. It was really good. I just wasn't dreaming about it. My only thing is, why didn't Olive just tell Anna? A-N-H. I don't know really how to pronounce that. She was over Jeremy and never really liked him. Adam was so sweet the whole time. I don't know why Olive thought he was mean. Sure, he was hard on his students, but that's the sign of a good teacher. Okay, so those are the books that I've finished. And these are the 2 books that I'm currently reading that I plan on finishing before July is over. So the first one is His Secret Daughter by Melissa Windsor. I'm not too far into it. I'm only 22 pages into it, but I think I might read a little bit today. And then also Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm butchering that. I'm so sorry. But let's see. I'm 105 pages into it. I'm on chapter 9 right now. Yeah. So that's all the books that I've read this summer. And yeah, I'm about to go pick my fall TBR. Deuces!